What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about the newest film from legendary director Bong Joon-ho. And I wanted to see this movie as soon as I heard about it. Number one, because it stars Robert Pattinson, who I absolutely love. He has become one of my favorite actors over the past several years. I love the projects that he involves himself in. Number two, I love Bong Joon-ho. I'm still working my way through his filmography, but every movie that I've seen from him, I've just been completely and totally impressed. The worlds that he creates and the performances that he gets from his actors. He's truly just a one of a kind talent. Obviously, his last film, Parasite, one of the best films made in the past 20 years. I absolutely adore that film. And I was really curious because tonally, this felt very different than Parasite. But I also knew that this was going to get very political. I knew that it was going to be really thought provoking because it's just who Bong Joon Ho is. And I'm really excited to tell you about Mickey 17 today. Mickey 17 is directed by Bong Joon Ho. Unlikely hero Mickey Barnes finds himself in the extraordinary circumstances of working for an employer who demands the ultimate commitment to the job, to die for a living. So I was really excited to watch this movie. I've seen some early reviews from screening that were generally positive, but I was curious as to what I was going to think about this movie, and I thought this was wonderful. I loved everything about this movie, and I think it comes at a genuinely perfect time in the United States political climate because this movie is such a damning representation of everything that is fundamentally wrong with the political landscape of the United States of America. It directly mocks Trump in like the funniest way imaginable. It picks apart all of these really interesting ideas surrounding the United States political landscape. And it goes even further, talking about subject matter even outside of the United States political spectrum. And I'm really excited to talk about a little bit of that with you today. So at the beginning of the film, we are introduced to Mickey, played by Robert Pattinson, who is giving us a little bit of a backstory as to how he ended up with this job that is causing him to just die in a multitude of ways. And we learn early on that he got himself into some trouble with one of his friends, and they are on the run from this criminal boss who lent them some money. And he can't figure out work because he doesn't really have a long job history. And so he comes across this spaceship that's going to be traveling, I think they said 4.5 years to the other side of the universe to go to this planet and inhabit it. And it's led up by Kenneth Marshall, who we see very early on in the movie is a mockery of Donald Trump in virtually every way imaginable. His supporters wear these red hats. He has this dumb slogan, and his character is a bumbling buffoon. And he is leading all these people to create his perfect idea of society. And inside of this, the scientists in this group have created this job that essentially you are called an expendable. And what happens is your memory is uploaded into this software. But what can happen is you can go out and perform procedures for them and die. And using all of these different materials, they can copy your body, reanimate you, and upload this new reanimated body with your memory. So the only lapse in time is from dying to being reanimated. And they end up getting to this planet. And when they arrive, Mickey stumbles upon these creatures that are inhabiting the planet. And the entirety of the film is Mickey going through this process of dying over and over again, discovering these creatures and how this man, Kenneth Marshall, reacts to these creatures being on this planet that he is trying to create his perfect society on. So like I said, I loved this movie, and there are a multitude of reasons as to why. For starters, I'm going to start with performances. Robert Pattinson is incredible in this movie. I absolutely loved everything about his performance, not just like how we see subtle differences in the iterations of Mickey. I love this like voice that he's taken on. He's kind of like the lovable dork. Like throughout the entire beginning of the movie, you can just see he's been forced into this situation and he's living with some trauma from his past, and he just wants to live a life where he can enjoy himself and be happy. And when he signs up for this job, he has no idea what the hell he's getting into. As the film goes on, it just blows more and more out of control, and I love his response to it. And I was really impressed with his performance in this movie. I just thought he did a phenomenal job. Naomi Ackie, who plays Nasha, was another one of my favorite performances in this. She plays Mickey's Mickey's love interest. And I really liked her character as well. And I really liked the trajectory of where she went in the third act. I thought she was really charismatic. I thought she had a really great personality. And she accompanied Robert Pattinson really well in this movie. I feel like they played off each other really well. And I thought she provided a lot to the overall experience. Mark Ruffalo is essentially playing a satire of Trump. Like, they're just his mannerisms, the way that he talks, everything surrounding him. And what I love is you can see it there, but it doesn't feel like an exact parody. There's things that Mark Ruffalo is bringing to the table where it feels like its own character, and it's just the embodiment of evil in a way that there's comedy there, but it's also just genuinely pure hatred and evil towards other people, towards these creatures, towards everything. I loved that the villain was so dynamic. It was really interesting to watch, and I think that's very much a credit to Mark Ruffalo's performance. And Toni Collette, who actually plays his wife in the movie, is genuinely equally as evil, if not more so. And I really liked that as well. I thought Toni Collette's performance was really great. And there's a really stacked cast in this movie that they all do a really fantastic job. I also loved the way this thing was shot. I really love how bleak it is. The movie, like the environment they go to, it's on this snowy, very desolate planet. And Bong does a really amazing job capturing that visually. And there are a lot of really stunning shots in this movie. And I love this science fiction world. It feels so lived in, and that's what I appreciated about it a lot, is like this world feels like it's been around for a while, and so it's easy to settle yourself in and go along for the ride. And along with the visuals, I loved the production design, and I really loved the look of the creatures in this movie. Bong loves making creature movies. He has his whole career. He's made a lot of movies surrounding different creatures, and I love that these have so many different elements you can pull apart from different animals and the way that they move, but combining them together to create this one thing. And I was always captivated whenever one was depicted on screen. They just had a really cool look to them, and that's something that made the movie really fun to watch. And like I said, this movie couldn't come at a more poignant time in our culture. And I think some people might try to say that this is so on the nose, but I loved seeing a movie from someone that comes from a different part of the planet, that spends a lot of time in the United States promoting their movies, working with actors from the United States, doing press tours here, all of those different things, that made a film commenting on the state of this place. And clearly he has a love for the United States and coming around and promoting and working here and doing those things in parts of his career. But similarly to movies he has made about South Korea, he is able to look at things and present them as they are. And I thought that the political commentary in this movie, even though it was on the nose, it felt very satirical in a comedic way, but also an incredibly thoughtful way. Whether you look at the way Mickey's character is treated and is essentially just a pawn of the government. They do not care about who he is as a human being. They completely and totally use him and abuse him for their own benefit. The way that they look at these creatures on this planet as just disposable. They're here, it's a place that we want, and we're going to get rid of them. And that's very similar to what happened to the Native Americans here, and how it was just like, we're going to come take this place. And that's happened in so many different parts of the world where people have settled and inhabited. And you can even look at the creatures that we have wiped off certain parts of the United States of America in order to make room for buildings, and how much wildlife we've ran off. And I really loved the commentary there. And then all of the manipulation of Mark Ruffalo's character and the way that he like utilizes religion. They constantly are mixing up church and corporation in the movie, and I loved that. I thought it was really funny the way that he's able to manipulate his followers, the speeches that he gives that are so fundamentally flawed, and you can just pick apart each and every way that he's lying to these people. And I just loved that despite the fact that it is on the nose, it's satirical in a way that feels poignant and relevant to the times that we're living in. And when we're constantly bombarded with just idiocy from the current political administration, when you're watching it conveyed in a movie in such like a very in your face way that's making fun of it to the extreme degree, it made it a very enjoyable experience. And I loved every second of this movie. I felt like for a little over 2 hours, it was just a very breezy runtime. And despite all of the political commentary, it's a very fun, ridiculous movie that has a lot of great humor, a lot of genuine suspense and thrills and action. And I was constantly guessing what was going to happen next. And I love where it went in the third act, and I thought that it was incredibly poignant the way that the movie wrapped up, and I thought it left a lasting impression. And that's exactly what I want from a Bong Joon-ho movie. I think he's incredibly talented at conveying subject matter in a way that will resonate with viewers, and I don't think that this is any exception. I think this is a movie that is going to sit with a lot of people and that a lot of people will really enjoy, and I will always look forward to a new Bong Joon-ho movie. So have you seen Mickey 17? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was incredible. I loved every second of it, and I already can't wait to watch it again. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.